It's 12th of June, 10:45 in the morning, Saturday morning. About this time last year, I called my aunt, my mom's younger sister, and I was curious to see what she knew about what I had heard about, and I had a lot of information about luciferase and the basting, links to it all, and she's I called her and I gave her the information I had. I said, "Have you heard this? You know, it's part of the basting." And she said, No, I haven't heard any of that." And I said, "Well, it looks to me like it has something to do with the mark of the beast." And she said, "Well, you know, I listened to John MacArthur, and John MacArthur says that, you know, this kind of stuff has happened before, and nations take over other nations sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily, you know, I mean, in other words, you know, we could be wiped off the face of the earth, very possibly, you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean." I don't know, this is what I gathered when I listened to her tell me what John MacArthur said. Now, I don't know, I don't listen to John MacArthur, but I know his background, I know exactly what he probably would say, and I would assume that John MacArthur has been basted and probably encouraged his followers to be. So this is kind of what I'm dealing with, and I was curious about it, you know, and I had been thinking about my aunt just recently because I wondered, you know, if she had been, if my aunt and uncle had been. These guys were the hospitality, they had the gifts of hospitality. They were the two people that were always there with a hot dinner, a handshake, a hug, dessert, coffee, great conversation, always. That was who they were. And now they're in a place where they don't really entertain like that because there's nobody there they know. They moved to out of state. They moved out of state, and I didn't know that last year. And I didn't know that because I'm not connected. I don't get Facebook, so I don't hear what they're hearing about these, and they don't hear from me whatsoever because I'm not on Facebook. So any kind of family whatever that ever happens, apparently all information goes through there, and if you're not plugged in, nobody's going to tell you. That's sort of what happens. I mean, that's what is happening. But so I didn't know, and that was last September. And so in September they moved out of state and went into an assisted living facility that will take you all the way through, you know, from senior apartment to assisted living to nursing care to palliative care, all the way through. My mom was in a thing like that too. And so they're near my cousin, who can take an eye on them, or keep an eye on them, take an eye, and keep an eye on them. And my aunt said that she had been in, you know, the nursing care part of it since January because she needs a lot of extra help now. And I'm like, wow, what happened in January? I said, or was that something that's been coming on? And she said, well, no. And then she started kind of sidetracking the story about my uncle still living in the apartment and how they come back and forth. And she can leave for a little while, but she needs more assistance, so she can't leave for very long. He comes down there about 3 times a day. And I'm like, wow. Here they are. I mean, their daughter's nearby, and they're near each other, but they're not living with each other. They're separated. They don't know anybody. And the very first thing I thought when she said that she had been in there since January was she probably was basted in January. But I didn't want to come right out and ask her right after she told me that. That's why I asked her if it was something that came on right away, and it seems to be that it was. It didn't just gradually come on. In January she needed extra help. So as the conversation went, I was going to bring this up, but not right away. I wanted to see how it went, and as it turned out, she brought it up. She asked me if I had been, and I said no, and I don't intend to be. And she said, well, that's your prerogative. And she said, we were. And I said, oh, when were you basted? I asked. She said, January. So I'm not exactly sure what to even think. I've gone beyond the anger, and I'm just at a loss. I feel like there's an empty spot, and there's some people just can't be reached. How are people that are supposedly so enlightened, and we're talking Christians here, how are they this blind? I don't get it.